Yeah. I don't know. I love diversity and I love the inclusion of everybody, but I hate it being forced. And I hate the organizations that exist strictly to promote something of a race.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that spectrum of too much, but also it takes something like that to make a change initially. Yeah. Once it's changed,
does it go away?
You shouldn't need that driving force anymore, but I don't know. It could like relapse too, right? It could go back. I think we're too diverse now that it won't go back. It's got to be. No. It's got to be that way.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever.
Yeah,
it'll ever go back.
Yeah, it's very. I'm thinking more and more about movies and stuff, and it's bad. It's like it's just now getting better. So I mean,
was it that it was bad, or wasn't there just not a lot of actors? There's only white actors.
Yeah, it's pretty much that.
Is that it? I mean, was it intentional?
I don't know. I don't know if someone didn't get the role because they weren't the right character, like the right color, or didn't have the right thing. And I bet you a lot of people saw the people that needed the role to look a certain way.
Yeah.
I was watching Aquaman on the plane, and I've never watched it. I heard it was bad, so I don't know why I was watching it.
Perfect plane movie.
Yeah, but like some of the main characters were black, and for some reason when I was watching it, I was like, that's abnormal.
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe you watch too many white movies.
Maybe. I think I'm onto something though.
I don't know. I grew up watching like Samuel L. Jackson, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, but all the characters are white except for him, pretty much, right?
No.
How many?
There was Chris Rock was in
the same. Yeah, maybe I haven't watched those in a while.
You watch some dumb movies. You watch. You know why? I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
you watch too many Adam Sandler movies. Maybe Adam Sandler's racist.
No, his new shows are diversified, pretty good.
What, Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah,
because he's got a white female in there.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's also strange. It's not a proper mix right now. It's like either it's like a white movie with like one black person, or it's like,
why does it have to be that way? Why does it have to have a certain percentage?
I don't know.
That's where I was getting at with.
Well, then things get coined, right? Like the token person is in there, like, and then if you watch like Tyler Perry movies, there's normally one white person in it, so it's like the exact opposite. But maybe the content's just relatable to that culture or race.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You said something a minute ago about like maybe they didn't get picked because of their skin color, but we're doing that today with positions. Companies are doing that, not hiring people because they don't meet an ethnic minority. They don't meet the percentage of numbers.
No.
So it's the exact. How long does it have to go this way until it goes like, okay, all right, we've done enough. Like, we've hired enough ethnic minorities. Now let's hire some white. Or does it go back to hiring white people?
I don't know.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I don't like. I love diversity. Obviously, like, I'm Mexican. I believe in it. But at what point? How much is too much? When do we just hire someone or play someone because of their skills and attributes and what they bring to the position, or they bring to the company, or bring to that role, whatever it is?
I think when the majority is not so one-sided.
You can tell you can't tell me that there's been some hiring discussions or hiring board interviews that have passed on a white person because they have to hire a Mexican or an Asian or a black person. Isn't that the definition of racism?
It's getting in a weird time.
I don't know. You can't answer it, right?
It's getting a weird time, but yeah, by definition it is. But it's I don't know. It's so complicated. I'm wondering, like, now if you look up in the U.S. right now, if you looked up the percentage of like who's the majority, who's the minority, like what percentage in the United States.
Do some Jamie stuff or what?
Yeah, I want to know because I don't know. I feel like the numbers have gone up, like to where so maybe when we're pretty well diverse to where there's less of a minority. Maybe that's the point where.
Damn, this is way off.
Way off from what? What it used to be?
No, this is like still a lot more of you white people around here. All right, so race. So this is from the United States Census Bureau, which we know that's all accurate. By race, so the population is 331 million, a little bit more than that. So this is data. This is data from 2020.
Is there just a percentage breakdown?
Yeah. So white alone percent 76%.
No way.
Black and African American 13%.
No way.
Hispanic is 18%. White, and this is confusing because this says white alone, not Hispanic or Latino.
Okay.
60%.
Oh.
But how many? This is skewed too because how many? I know. Well, if I get, have you gotten the Census Bureau stuff in the mail and you're asked to say how many people you have in your household? You haven't gotten one?
A long time ago, not last year or anything.
I've gotten one.
Is it every year?
No, I think it's every year, but they randomize who they send it to.
Yeah, I haven't got one in a while.
Largely, I can tell you, Hispanics don't fill that shit out. That shit goes in the trash real quick.
Yeah.
I can, like in Texas, I wonder what's the race makeup in Texas.
Yeah, let's do that one. But if those numbers are even close to being right, that's why you have to force it.
I don't think it can be.
Dude, it's so different. 70%. I mean,
Dude,
you have to. It won't happen by itself.
Be right. All right. Texas demographics: white, 73%. Black or African American, 12%. Other races is 5%.
Yeah. Well, there's our answer.
That I don't buy that shit, dude. I really do not buy that.
With that being the way it is, you have to force opportunity.
But then again, I'm telling you, like my parents didn't do it. I don't do it. I don't know any Hispanics that actually fill that. They do. I'm not going to fill that shit out.
What?
It wasn't trash.
What? I thought they were crazy about you filling that out. Isn't that
no? You don't. You don't have to fill it out. So yeah. So this is Texas. Quick facts, Texas. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau. White alone, 78%. Black or African American, 12%. Indian is 1%. Asian, 5%. Hispanic or Latino is 39%.
Well,
Dude,
that number's different.
Yeah, Hispanic. This is actually, that was just from Google. So what I gave you a minute ago
39%. And white people is 78.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Does that make up 100?
No, this goes over 100, but
what does that even mean?
I don't know. The graph is real. I mean, it has race and Hispanic origin.
Hmm.
Let me try to find something else that's not the U.S. Census Bureau.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I thought it was getting closer, to where maybe it was like a couple 30% or it seems like it's pretty low for other races still.
Unless they count like Hispanics into that 73% somewhere, somehow. So this is from the World Population Review. And this doesn't even have, like it has white at 73%, black or African American at 12.13%. Other races is at 5.2%, and Asian is at 4.8%. Let me search if there's Hispanic on here. Oh, okay. So look, this is what Hispanics, already a major group, are expected to become the majority by 2020, while the population also grows older as the baby boomer generation ages. By 2040, Texas is projected to have a population over 45 million. The largest European ancestry groups in the state include German, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Black Americans are the largest racial minority in the state, with blacks of Hispanics and non-Hispanic origin making up less than 12% of the population.
I'm thinking of more black shows now that I actually liked.
You're trying really hard now.
You remember Sister? You remember Sister? Or Smart Guy, or the famous Jed Jackson. I'm starting to think of a lot more now, but those are pretty good. And then you remember Family Matters and
Yeah, Family Matters.
Yeah,
is good.
there's some good ones in there.
Family Matters had Urkel, right?
Yeah. So, but I just don't think there was as much shows. But there were some shows. You know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There was a lot, I guess. But definitely, I feel like not as many.
See, this is why it's confusing. So, what Hispanic population by race? So, white is 32%.
That's what I was thinking. More of the it was gonna be like 30, 30, 30, not freaking 78. That's like, I feel like when I go out in the world and go to different places, I don't see it that one-sided.
Yeah, but it looks, they label it weird. They label it like Hispanic, non-white is the confusing part.
I guess that makes up for, I guess because they don't divide it into like Spaniard and
that's
all the other.
That gets confusing. Why can't it just be, if you're brown, you're Hispanic?
Because that's racist.
It needs some thicker skin, man. Because this data is like hard to digest.
I guess when you get to America, it's hard to do too, because then you have to break it into where they come from. Like,
I wonder what they're.
Because you're like you'd be Mexican American, right?
Yeah.
Or Spaniard. You're Spaniard too.
Mexican.
Yeah.
I was Spaniard, but my mom's Mexican.
Because you'd almost have to separate that like that.
What are they?
At what
tell
point
my
are you
kids?
talking? I don't know. At what point are you talking about like the origins or just skin color?
Yeah.
Because I was talking about this the other day. I was like, why not say a color at all? But then it's like when people need to be descriptive, you say a color.
I read some news articles about like some police organizations being being accused of being racist because they're describing people of their ethnic minority, like, black.
Well,
5,
imagine
12.
Like you could just say a man, right? It's almost racist to say the color because it's like you're saying it because I guess so someone would know, but also some people ask like, well, what color or what race? And then you say it and then you already have those biases worked up. Like, oh, okay.
I don't feel weird asking what race somebody is because I'm Mexican. Obviously I can, hey, what is this guy, a black guy or is he a white guy? Like, that's how I talk.
Mm-hmm.
Is he black or white? Is she white or black? Like, are you afraid to say that?
I used to never,
Yeah.
but now it's getting a little stranger. Yeah.
I
feel like you're able to say that more than I can now.
Yeah.
But now I say it in a respectful way. And if I'm truly curious, I'm always like, what is your ethnicity?
What's the malignant?
And I'll normally be like, because they have a feature, like they have green eyes and they're real dark skinned or something. I'm like, well, you're so pretty. What's your ethnicity?
That's creepy.
Okay.
God damn, dude. You just asked,
and it's only to a guy, so that's even creepier.
That's creepy. Hey, you're so hot. What's your ethnicity?
Well, I mean, just
my name's Mike.
You look so unique, and a lot of times they'll be like, oh, like they're used to saying where they're from because it's just they look unique and rare.
Why don't you just ask, where are you from?
I don't know, because then they'll say Chicago, and it's not
background.
Really where they're from.
Tell
right?
me your background.
Yeah.
What if you keep trying to understand their ethnicity without asking what your ethnicity is?
That's a skit.
And yeah, where you from? Chicago.
Yeah.
Where's your mom and dad from? Illinois. Like it is like keeps going. You can't get the answer you're looking for.
You got to skip all those and just go right to the meat and potatoes. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's like I just gotta watch how I say things.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah.
It depends though. Like it depends where you are too. If in Texas, if you ask someone, it's not weird, but it seems like on the news and things, if you go to like major cities, it could be a problem.
Yeah.
Like New York or something. You get into that, and then like I don't know, and you get in a sticky situation. But as far as Texas, or the place I know, home, and I know how I can talk in Texas, and I travel a lot, and I feel like I can talk the same way to other people in other states and even in other countries, and I just haven't got to a someone that I offended, you know, but I don't ask that a whole lot. And I don't know. I feel like I talk to everybody the same.
Yeah.
Depending on too, like if they play basketball or something, and then you know I play basketball. It depends how I talk to, you know, like if we have something in common, we may talk in that term. You know, if we geek out on like cameras or basketball or just like current events or something like that, like we'll vibe a lot more. You know, it's just like with anybody. If someone's into what I'm into, it definitely helps, and that's the people I want to cling to, the people who have common interests and things like that.
I don't think I change the way I talk based on someone's race or ethnicity. No.
I meant like as far as jargon, like if we're talking about cameras, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, the A7 III, A7 this, you know, like I'll start, like my guard will kind of come down and I'll start like.
Make you feel comfortable a little bit?
To be relatable with somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. It helps with the conversation. Have you ever talked to someone that was just so closed? I talked to some guy, we were at Universal. I didn't really talk to him. He walked by and there's a family line and there's a singles line. And we noticed that the singles line, you can get through the line a lot quicker. You can't go with the people you're with. You have to split up. And so this guy was walking by and I knew his type. He's a white guy. But he's like walking all arrogant and see, this is the type of person I'm not going to vibe with. And he's the same race as me. But I know his type. He's egotistical. Walking by.
You could tell that by the way he was walking?
Yeah, but maybe if I would talk to him, that bias would go away right away as soon as he talks. But the bad thing is you do have biases on, because you've lived this life and talked to so many people, and there's some similarities in how they do things, and that will go right with their personality. So like I kind of judged him, and I was right. So he came up and I was like, hey, you know, kind of polite, you know, I was like, hey, is this the singles line? Did you get in through singles? And he was like, looked at me and said, and like kept walking and looked past and he goes, I don't know. No, he didn't even say no. He goes, and kept walking.
Well, what if he thought you were trying to hit on him?
No.
Like, is this the singles line?
No, because it
sounds pretty gay to me.
The line
hitting on me right now.
The line is named singles. It says it on a sign, singles line. So sometimes they would close the singles line, and so you couldn't get in the singles line. And then when you get to the end, the person would be like, I know they're not letting single people in, so
Did
go
he
back.
Speak English? Did you hear him?
Yeah.
Speak? You sure?
Yeah.
What if he's from Russia or something?
No. So he was, and then even I was with my nephews, which were like, 6 and 8. And they were even like, what was his problem?
What a douchebag, Uncle Mike.
What was his problem? But I talked to the next people, and even the people in line, they're like, what the hell? Like, everybody was like appalled, like, why you couldn't answer me. Yeah, like there's like a family behind me. Like, the dad was like, what's up? What's up with this prick? And so I asked the next people, and they're like, yes, because there's a normal question. And we jumped the line and went in the singles. But yeah, all the loopholes of Universal.
Just learned one.
If you need to know some. I got him.
Do you feel like Elon Musk is going to save the world?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, did you see how Elon Musk sent Starlink to Ukraine, or turned on Starlink?
Yes.
How scary is that?
And I didn't even know I had to read up on Starlink. I thought Starlink was associated, which it is too, but I thought it was like directly related to SpaceX, but it's also its own kind of thing where it's a network at a lower orbit that like allows access to the internet from rural areas that don't normally get connectivity, like Angleton.
Yeah, perfect. No, like Pearland, dude.
Pearland, like the place that really should have it, but it seems like they don't. But more specifically to like, other countries are able to get education. I'm really curious to see
if it's working,
who he's going to open it up to.
I want to know, have you read anything on how it's actually working? If it's working well, if it's not working?
I thought it wasn't open until the Ukraine had asked him on Twitter to.
Yeah, but have you like what is it? Is it performing?
I don't know. From my understanding, like military technology, no matter what satellites you have out there, I thought they could. I forget the actual word, but they can put another signal to where it blocks it. So no matter what satellites you had up in space, they could block that.
I don't know, but
you know what I mean.
But what's insane to me about the whole thing is the Prime Minister of Ukraine tweeted Elon Musk about it. Okay, so it's not like an email or hey, let me call Elon Musk. It all happened over Twitter, and he says, Elon. So this is the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine. He said, while you try to colonize Mars, Russia is trying to occupy Ukraine. While your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civil people. We ask you to provide Ukraine with Starlink stations and to address sane Russians to stand. And then a few hours later, Elon responded and said, Starlink service is now active in Ukraine. More terminals en route. Over Twitter.
It made me cry a little bit.
Did it really?
Almost. Yeah, it did. Because it's like, it's crazy what power one person can have that a whole country's tweeting them to turn on a system that they don't have as an entire country.
Yeah. And Elon is, even though it's in the grand scheme of buildings being blown up and people, losing lives.
Yeah.
That gesture from Elon made waves across the world.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it.
I see.
That's scary, dude. It's scary because that's another, and I told you this, I was like, that's another reason why you shouldn't want to mess with the United States of America because of people like Elon. Yeah. What about Jeff Bezos? People talk a lot of crap about Jeff Bezos, but what can he do?
I mean, he went to space too. I don't know. That's, back in the day when we were in war, the communities helped the war effort, like certain manufacturing companies started making guns for the war effort and making bullets, making motorcycles, making all this stuff for the war effort. I mean, if we get to that point, I imagine Amazon and, Elon would step in and support that effort. But I don't know. I think Elon's doing Starlink already, and it's going to be helpful for the Ukraine to use for their communication. So I wonder how he tweeted them if they don't have any communication though.
I'm sure. The Vice Prime Minister
find a way.
Yeah.
It'd be a funny meme. Those things being said back and forth, and then the next one being, "What's the Wi-Fi password?"
See, that's good shit. That's funny. That's really good. That's really good.
Because how do you connect to this shit?
I don't know, but so Starlink, in case people don't know, it provides high-speed, low latency broadband internet access to the globe. Within each coverage area, orders are fulfilled on a first-come, first-served basis. Using advanced satellites in a low orbit, Starlink enables video calls, online games. So people are just gaming, they're making FaceTime calls right now, streaming, and other high data rate activities that historically have not been possible with satellite internet. Starlink is ideally suited for areas where connectivity has been unreliable or completely unavailable. So Russia has been killing all the LTE, public platforms that
the towers and stuff
Ukraine has. They've been strategically getting rid of them. So people across the globe are using Starlink, which I don't know who is, but to gain access to education, health services, and even communication support during natural disasters. So,
because you take out communication in a war, man, you've blinded your opponent. It's nuts. I wonder what. So I'm sure he's using a lot of that for SpaceX, but he could also kill all the cell phone companies pretty easy if it's reliable enough. And what if he makes it available for, he's the type that I could see making something like that available for free.
I don't think so though.
But even if he didn't, what if he was like, all right, well, $20 you can get Starlink.
$20.
$20 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
he's making a phone.
Then what is Verizon, what Sprint, they're not even a company anymore.
You know, his next plan is to make a all manufactured phone from the United States.
Yeah.
You know, that's his plan, right? So maybe that plays into what you're saying. What if you just called it?
It's got to. I've seen the string of satellites go, that like there's multiple strings going up and putting these satellites, I guess, in low orbit. And I'm sure he has a lot now because, man, I don't know how many he brought up at the time. I thought it was aliens. You know, I had to look it up, and they were like, oh, you know, SpaceX is bringing up satellites in the orbit. But he could very well, and it almost makes you think, I'm like, how stupid were we to, you know, put up all these towers? I know it's different.
Yeah. It's
a different technology than, because I don't think that works with satellite, right? That's just its own thing.
Right. It's its own.
But there's 5G towers everywhere. I don't know. I might be stupid, and maybe they work together, and maybe it's just not going directly to the satellites. But
no, it's its own network.
Well, if we didn't have to put all those towers up, I think that would have been a lot better of an idea. And I don't know why that wasn't thought about sooner.
I don't know. I want to know how well it's working, though. I haven't seen anything.
Could you imagine us just all using satellite like that? If it was reliable enough, we wouldn't need telephone wires, like all this stuff that's built in to everything that takes up a lot of room. You know, landowners, they'll come in and put a big, you know, I think that's more for power. But anyways, telephone lines, all that stuff that are old school communication, if it's reliable enough to use those low orbit satellites, it'd be interesting. And it's faster, you know? What if it's probably faster than 5G, right?
That's what they say. They say it's very fast. But I want to see, like, everyone, it's like doing projects out in the plant, right? Oh, this is going to be faster. Like,
he's going to take over the world, man. If he
with Neuralink, and
it's not even relatable to all the other cell phone companies. Dude, he's probably going to skip the cell phone and just put that all in Neuralink.
Have you been talking to him?
I don't know.
You seem like you know a lot right now.
Could you imagine? You just all knowing of, what is it? Starlink? What was the Terminator thing? What was that company called?
Let me look it up.
Damn it. I should know this.
Yeah, this is your realm.
I don't think it's close, but Starlink, Neuralink. Gonna link something.
Company name.
Why can't you should think of
Skynet?
Skynet.
Was it Skynet?
It's Sky. In a network.
That's a stretch.
It's a stretch. No, I could see that going that way, though. I mean, we can't, you know, it's for space and all that stuff, but it also could be the next cell phone service for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that.
Well, I mean, everything you can do is off of like a network now. I mean, like you can make calls on Facebook, and you don't have to really have a cellular service. You just have to have internet connection.
Have you seen that movie Geostorm?
Mm-mm.
It kind of reminds me of this, but I think they figured out, and it's been a while since I watched the movie, but they figured out how to control the climate, and it's basically a bunch of satellites in space. So they can make a portion of the world hot and a portion of the world cold. Yeah, with satellites, so they can produce rain.
They already do that. You know, China does that. Did it for like the Olympics. It's like cloud feeding.
Right.
Yeah, I think they shoot phosphorus in the sky.
Oh my god!
And because I think it was raining during the Olympics, and all of a sudden it might be a conspiracy theory, but it didn't seem like it reading about it because there was a big couple of articles on it. But I think there was Olympics in there one year, and it was about to really come down. Like there was no defeating it, and then just cleared up completely.
Damn, I didn't read that. But
we need to look it up.
The movie's
might be wrong, but
the movie's like that, and they control. But anyway, hackers get into it, and they're going to heat or freeze the world, but basically cause like a mass world extinction through tidal waves, earthquakes, tornadoes, and everything through the system.
That's the problem with the Internet of Everything. When everything's connected, it's all vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll never get Neuralink, because someone can hack you.
Yeah.
Whereas they can't hack you now.
Well, that's what they're doing in Russia now. You hear about those hackers that are attacking Russian banks and stuff?
From America?
I don't know where they're from. They're from like an anonymous group. They're on Twitter and they're like giving their updates. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
I don't see how Russia doesn't have a plan to combat Skylink, because I feel like Russia's been in space just as long as we have and have come up with plans for this kind of thing. And so, because there's a Russian space center station up there, we've shared intelligence with Russia when it comes to space. They've been up there, you know. I think maybe longer. I'm not sure. I know we were like the first people on the moon, but they always have a person up there in the space station, and I think we share that with them.
Yeah.
Again, I might be completely wrong. But they should have plans in place if this were to happen as far as communicate. That's why I think like Space Force is being created and all that stuff, because it's now that we're at that level and the technology is there, and we're, you know, that's another form of wars, like from space. We get some freaking Star Trek, Star Wars times here pretty soon.
But I'm amazed. I'm not amazed to see. I am. I'm in awe of what is happening in Ukraine, but it's not as technologically driven as I thought it was going to be. There's still a lot of boots on the ground and tanks. And
why, you think?
Because they're wanting to take over. You can cause, and they're causing cyber attacks and all that stuff in Ukraine, and they're causing power outages. They're doing that.
Why wouldn't it be more drone stuff?
They are. But Ukraine is using drone too. I saw the footage this morning of a drone blowing up a freaking Russian tank. These hackers, though, they're calling themselves the Anonymous. It's a hacker collective. They claim the responsibility for all the cyber attacks that caused numerous Russian government websites to go down. In a tweet, they said, Anonymous has ongoing operations to keep .ru, which is the Russian internet, government websites offline, and to push information to the Russian people. So, what Putin's doing now is he wants to control the narrative of what's being published, and these hackers are pushing against that. So they're killing all the Russian government websites, the news organizations that's owned by Putin and his regime, and they're letting the uncensored information get to the Russian people. So they say, so the Russian people can...
To the Russian people. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
The Russian people. There's a bunch of like prominent Russian millionaires and even some like ex-government officials that have spoke out against the invasion.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't read none of that.
So they say, and to push information to the Russian people so they can be free of Putin's state censorship machine, we also have ongoing operations to keep the Ukrainian people online as best we can. So there's and then you see all these bars in the United States and around the world pouring out all this Russian liquor. Like it almost, when you said, I sent you something. Oh, there's oh God, I don't want to say the wrong thing and sound like I already sound like an idiot, but let me pull this up real quick.
Yeah.
So there's I sent you this yesterday. A team of American and British Special Forces veterans are going to Ukraine to fight. And you said that it makes you want to cry a little bit. I was tearing up as I was sending that to you because as a people, everyone's standing up for what's bad or standing up against what is bad. Not just the government, not just Ukraine, but people are uniting. We haven't united in a long time. You know what I mean?
9/11.
Yeah. Now we're kind of coming together, and it feels good
As a
world.
As a world, do you think in any way, you know, my mind, do you think in any way at all that's a tactic
You think it's
for
planned?
for globalization?
I don't know. I don't think so.
But yeah, no, everybody's coming together, and it's not your political side.
Yeah.
It's not a race thing. It's what's right and wrong.
Yeah. Everyone's coming from everyday people, civilians in Ukraine are being equipped with weapons to fight. The president, Volodymyr Zelensky, said, hey, we don't need. He told the U.S. government when we tried to say, "Hey, get your ass out of there," he said, "I don't need a ride. I need ammo."
Yeah,
that's balls of steel, bro.
Dude,
balls of steel.
I remember you sent me that.
I was getting emotional writing you that stuff. Like, when's the last time? And we haven't been in a war, but we have, but we haven't been threatened. Our democracy hasn't been threatened. When's the last time, though, an American president has done something like that? Last time I could think is George Washington.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't know. I don't, as much as people like Trump or like, you think they're going to put on fighting jackets and helmets and go fight? I don't think so.
It's we talked about this today, is like, how have they not eliminated the Ukraine at this point? Their military has to be way more sophisticated than the Ukraine. That's why sometimes I think, is this like some,
I don't know,
some way to bring globally? I don't know. There's a lot of killing going on too, so you can't really say it's. Well, I don't know. Some tactics involve killing too, though.
Or NATO is helping in a large way that we just don't know about, which I don't know if that's really possible.
And what's NATO for? I don't think you've said it yet.
Okay, so NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's essentially a military alliance that was formed in the 40s. I think it was 49. I think I'm trying to find it. I think there's like 15 countries or 14 countries that are a part of it.
And they basically are like allies that stick together in times like this.
And I was trying to find why Ukraine. So I'll give you what this is from the Washington Examiner on why the Ukraine isn't joining NATO and why it hasn't been joining NATO. I was trying to find out, like, why isn't already part of NATO? Why, what? It's been an ongoing thing since early 2000s. And I can't really find any information as to, like, clear, like, this is the exact 3 things why Ukraine is not part of NATO. But this is what I've been reading about. It says, let's see. First off, all the countries that are a part of NATO have to unanimously agree on letting a country in.
All of them have to agree?
Yes, all of them.
So it's not a percentage?
They have to all agree, but America heavily influences the direction of NATO. So,
and they're in NATO, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, the one side of this is Putin, and this is from the Washington Examiner. Putin regularly hints that the Ukrainian membership in NATO would precipitate a war between NATO and Russia. So this whole article goes on to say that Putin is wanting to advance the Soviet Union, to bring back what the Soviet Union stood for. And that means controlling a portion of Ukraine and owning Ukraine. And
they'd be like a communist country again?
Yes.
And they're free right now, right?
Yeah. So another thing so there's there's an opinion piece from a pretty good political writer that I'll bring up, but he gives lists on these stuff. But this article says, as a final point, the Ukraine has made progress in such areas. So there's a process that the country that's applying to be in NATO has to go through. They have to meet certain criteria, and it's the whole list. But this article says, as a final point, although Ukraine has made progress in areas such as democratic accountability and independent judiciary, challenges such as corruption and politicized institutions still exist. So this matters because NATO membership action plans for so the application is called MAP, Membership Action Plan. They have to follow this membership action plan to become NATO. This means that prospective members includes that members' ability to prove that it has a functioning democratic political system based on a market economy, fair, and here's what's funny. Here's what gets funny. Fair treatment of minority populations, a commitment to democratic civil military relations and institutions. Ukraine cannot yet make this case convincingly. So, let me repeat. A fair treatment of minority populations, and a commitment of democratic civil military relations and institutions. And it must, let's see. There was a word in there. Oh, and corruption. Prove that the government's not corrupted, which all of that is America.
Golly.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, not, a bunch of countries. There's corruption in in a lot of countries.
I don't know a lot about other countries, but I know a lot about America, and I know all of our political system. 99.99% of it is corrupted. Is that awkward to say? I think everyone can agree. Nancy, there's a form of corruption.
What's an example?
Nancy Pelosi makes, I think, what, $250,000 a year. I think she's the second highest paid member of the government.
Of how much you think?
I don't know. Let me Google how much Nancy Pelosi.
It's
makes. It's like 270,000. Nancy Pelosi.
270,000.
Yeah.
That she should make, and then how much she's worth?
Let's see.
And that
so
one,
her congressional salary is $193,000 a year, and her net worth is almost $200 million a year, or $200 million.
And how long has she been in office?
I mean, since she's been birthed, basically. She's been in office for a long time.
Is that some of that? Remember the stock market stuff? Where
it's all insider trading.
Inside trader.
It all, and it's not just Nancy Pelosi. I'm picking on Nancy Pelosi because she's the House Speaker, but you can go to Mitch McConnell, who's a prominent Republican, been in the House, I don't know, just as long as Nancy Pelosi, and he's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's corruption. So why can't we let a partially corrupted nation into NATO?
No. Yeah, I wonder if there's I wonder if on the other side is if they're not fit, like they don't have, because I mean, how long have they been independent? Do you think maybe there's, I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but are they fit to be a country at this point? Do they have everything in place to be a country? And who's that? Who's anybody else to say if they're their own country? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, but just in the media shots that I've seen, and they're a very patriotic country. If the civilians,
it seems they've come together. They're coming together in this effort. So
their civilians are fighting for their democracy and their country. Yeah. Why? I mean, I don't feel that confident that Americans would do that by and large.
I wonder, did it say how many veterans are going over there?
This one story highlighted I'm sure there's more. I've seen other like headlines, but this is unique because it's a team of American and British forces. They joined together after Zelensky made the call, and the group consists of 6 U.S. citizens, 3 Brits, and a German that are NATO trained and experienced in close combat and counterterrorism. So they're kind of related to NATO, but they're ex. So
yeah, I bet there's a lot of Americans that want to go. Especially veterans.
I think there are. I bet you there are. I mean, I've seen random articles, but I haven't checked the validity of it. But these are some, without getting into the details of why Russia, because then I wanted to read on why Russia wanted to invade Ukraine. So at a high level, and then ask me, and I can kind of read on some of this. But Putin desires to restore Russia's place of importance and influence on the world stage. So even though we found out Russia is like,
it's the largest country.
The largest by double America size. But he wants more power. And this is from the American Thinker, and the author is Steve Feinstein. So he's a pretty good writer, but he's got a little bit of a Republican slant to him.
Dumbass question, but was Putin in charge whenever, I think it is a dumb question, was he in charge when they split?
Yeah. What do you mean when they split?
When the Soviet Union split, like when Ukraine became an independent country?
That I don't know. See.
Regardless, I think he would have, like if you once had something that was taken away, I think you would always have some sort of
I think he was. Yeah. So this
because he's been in as long as he lived, almost, right? Like he's been in office for 20 plus years.
So this says ever since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia's military and economic influence have been markedly diminished. The world no longer recoils in fear at what Russia does compared to the way the world reacted to every move that this old Soviet Union made. Ukraine is a major population and military entity, and Putin wants it. The other thing is Putin/Russia's resistance over Ukraine becoming part of NATO. Kind of talked about that, where it's all about the border. So why would we not want, this is what the article says, why would we want to arbitrarily poke the bear by adding another NATO member on Russia's border? So there's already a lot of countries surrounding Russia that are in NATO, and Putin's basically said, if you allow Ukraine to go into NATO, you're going to be met with force. So that's...
He thinks, because they think they'll go against Russia?
Yeah, because he feels like, at least what's what this says, that they're encroaching on Russia.
And to go in the history portion of it, I guess in 91, how did they break away?
I don't know. You're asking some really hard questions.
Some shit I should probably know, but for the listeners and viewers, that I'm sure I'm not the only one who don't know.
Yeah.
But I bet you there's some,
There's another thing here this guy says that there's an economic and geographic advantage to Russia taking over Ukraine, from additional farmland, natural resources, to unfettered access to the Black Sea, the large economic structure and workforce, to the addition of additional manufacturing technology bases that he would have control over. The other thing is Russia wants to drive up the price of crude oil. Russia is already is in the top 3 world oil producer, along with America and Saudi Arabia. Russia derives a huge portion of its national cash revenue by selling oil in the world market. So this is a long portion of the article, but it goes on to say that he's strategically doing this to drive up the price of oil to make more money too, as another reason. So it goes into couldn't Russia just completely crumble Ukraine if they wanted to? We kind of talked about that before we started the podcast. This could be another, like, we're going to go in, cause some havoc, and then we'll retreat, make a few $1 million doing it.
It's sad, too, because we think, if they have a plan, they're not doing as much as they could, but they're still killing people. So, to make a little money, there's a little blood loss, which is terrible.
It's scary, dude, but I don't know.
The way that they haven't, went in like that, it could be for that reason alone, but he's not going to get a good reaction from other countries as far as them, throwing out their liquor. Maybe these are little small things that don't really affect them, but shutting down their banks. That anonymous group, is that out of Russia?
I don't know where that's from. That's why they called it anonymous.
I feel like, that's their, we at least don't know their name, but I know there's a lot of good Russian hackers as well, because we see them in the United States.
Well, even the other cool thing that makes me feel good, and it's scary at the same time, is Google, Facebook, and YouTube, all these social media platforms are banning ads from Russians. Like, Russia's not able to make money on these platforms because they're banning the ad revenue.
That's crazy.
The other thing, that's the most prominent scary thing, is that OnlyFans and Twitch, they're banning all the content creators from getting their cash out of the website, out of the app.
Yeah.
So if homegirl in Russia have been selling that booty, she can't get that cash. There's a lot of pissed off people.
I feel like they should at least give them their cash and then cut them off. That's kind of fucked up.
Well, I don't know. But it's not just this collective coming together, is these social media apps, these bar owners, and Minneapolis. I think they started in Minneapolis. There's governors around the country that are saying anything that is Russian related, pull it off the shelf. And there's people that are just pulling things. And there's videos of Russian liquors, being poured down the drain, and they're like, "We stand with the Ukrainians," and makes me feel good. And there's like some hope.
It's like some stuff that's going to go down in the history books.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of little instances here. A lot of big instances too. That's history. We're making history as we live, whereas we didn't see that growing up. We just saw that history was laid out. But these are things that we're experiencing, and things like, I could see a picture of people pouring out the vodka.
Yeah. In the history books.
In the history books. So.
Do you think we'll be able to get Vladimir Zelensky as president, U.S. 2024?
I would never count anybody out.
I don't think that happened.
But
right.
That president, man, sticking up for the country.
He may be a shitty person.
He may be full of shit. He's not going out nowhere, but it's a hell of a thing to say.
He's taking all these pictures in the field, but he's not really going out.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of
he's really in Cuba, or he's in Cancun right now.
You think about war journalism, it's like so weird to think like someone's documenting the war, like someone's out there taking pictures, I guess hiding, but there's always a person trying to, document the war. Like,
I think there's an agreement in amongst war. Like, you can't
shoot the camera guy.
Yeah. You can't capture the camera. I mean, I suppose you can, but I think there's a written rule or something that you can't is with the press, because they'll carry, hey, we're with the press.
That's bullshit.
I'm serious.
In war, I feel like there's in no real war, there shouldn't be any rules.
There's rules, though. Just like how publicly NATO or the U.S. is not sending, anybody to fight on NATO's behalf. Because if there was, then there'd be like a nuclear threat with Russia.
Yeah,
he's adamantly. I mean, he's already warmed up the nukes. Apparently.
Fuck.
I'm serious. You didn't read that?
Warmed up the nukes is a hell of a fucking sentence, man.
Yeah, that's a bad wording, but he's readied the troops that are over the nukes.
There's all kinds of things that he says though too, like the submarines are ready, or they're like he moves them to a certain way.
Yeah, but if this guy says it, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean he's getting older, man. When you get older, you have nothing to lose. It seems like that's when I think you need to be moved out. When
did you see that video of him working out?
Yeah. Who got that?
I don't know.
Why is he at like a hotel gym?
I don't know.
It's like
he's doing weird workouts too.
No security,
no, there's security there.
There's someone.
Do you see that video of him and Conor McGregor?
No,
you didn't see that one.
They were together.
Yeah, somewhere they were taking Conor McGregor. It was real brief. He was talking to him, and they turned around to take a picture, and Conor put his hands on his shoulder, and the security guard stepped in and waved him down and said something, and Conor was and then just crossed his hands, didn't touch him.
Shit.
Yeah.
I need to see that one. I imagine Putin wouldn't like McGregor because of the guy he had beef with. I can't think of his name right now.
Mayweather?
No, the Russian, yeah. The Russian
Jake
guy.
Paul?
What is his name?
I don't know. You follow UFC more.
Anyways, well, because they're real, they don't fuck around over there. I mean, they really, I don't know. I can't think of his name.
There's a lot of Russian athletes, too, that are speaking out against it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of...
It seems like the country as a whole, knows it's wrong.
Everything that we're seeing.
Yeah, as what they're showing us.
Yeah. You trying to figure out that name?
Real quick.
What is it? Conor McGregor.
Golly. He should just come right up. There he is. Khabib. Golly.
Oh, okay.
Golly. Yeah, but...
All right, so we're 2 hours in this
I'm done. I'm so tired.
You want to call? You ready to call it?
I think so.
All right, buddy. All right, until next time.
Uh-huh.
All right, bye.
Wow.